in your classroom, you should have classroom rules. And who draws up the classroom rules? The learners, and you as the teacher, you direct. Because if they draw it up on their own, they may not, you need to channel their discussion and their thinking, okay? You need to recognize and reward learners that adhere to the rules that you set in your classroom rules. And there needs to also be clear consequences when learners choose not to follow the rules. Feedback must be supportive in nature. Now, what I thought I would share with you is how do we develop a holistic approach to discipline in the schools? And that is by involving all stakeholders. Now, the various stakeholders are the learners, the teachers, the SMTs, that includes the principal, the school community, and the SGB. Now, in some schools, there's a member of the SGB that serves on the school discipline committee. Just by show of hands, how many of us have that? Okay, it's very few. But from experience, I'm going to share with you that if there is a strong presence of the SGB in your school, but not to tell you how to run your school, because that's your job, you're the professional. They need to only deal with governance issues. But if they are involved in the school's code of conduct, okay, and the discipline committee, it helps you to run your school better in terms of discipline. Now, let's look at the learners. If you look at self-esteem, if you develop self-esteem in learners and self-confidence, they automatically have self-respect. Now, self-esteem is how do you inculcate in learners a good esteem? How do they think well of themselves? How do they think good of themselves? How do they develop positively? Okay, and they think and they behave, they exude that type of behavior. Self-confidence is how do they behave in class? Are they confident in what they do? Do they display certain skills that you teach them from time to time? All of those skills, it engenders self-respect. Now, self-respect, ladies and gentlemen, is the ultimate. If amongst ourselves we have self-respect, we tend to pass that on to our learners in the classroom. The school management teams. Learner behavior is influenced by the curriculum appropriateness. Before I even go to school management, let me just quickly touch on the teachers. How can you ensure good discipline in your class? Number one, by coming to school well prepared. A prepared teacher is a good teacher. A prepared teacher is a positive teacher. Okay? Now, with the curriculum changes in schools, that the education department gives us, we find that we tend to not be well prepared because there are certain rules and regulations that we need to follow. Our schools, unfortunately, cannot cater for smaller numbers. Our classrooms are small in structure, but big in numbers. Now, if you as a teacher did not cater for all of that in your planning, you will encounter discipline problems. You, as a school management team, as the principal, now I talk to you, teachers should not be sending their learners out of their class for you to discipline. I find that when I just became a principal, that was a practice in that school. But I changed it to ensure that the teachers had their own way of disciplining first. And if they were unsuccessful, then the learners were sent to me. So I was the final port of call. And that helped tremendously.